Kiwi! Hello to all 100 of you that are probably watching this video. You have to start somewhere, don't you? So, that's what's happening. This video, I would say, is for anyone who feels like they are failing at life or falling behind, or just kind of feels like, maybe you feel like there's something wrong with you because everyone seems to be buying a house or getting a promotion or getting married or having babies. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of those things. But sometimes when lots of amazing things are happening to the people around us, it can make you feel like you're not good enough. And you absolutely are. So I've been thinking a lot about my life and where I'm at in my life and my age and where I thought I would be at this point. Growing up, I didn't think I would be 32 and still living with my dad. But there's no shame in that. There is no shame in it. It's not where I thought I would be. Let's talk a little bit about expectations, because there is a quote that says comparison is the thief of joy. But I also feel like expectation is the thief of joy. For example, thinking back to a period in my life, a few years ago, I went travelling and my plan was to go to Southeast Asia, do a bit of travelling around there, and then go and do a working holiday in New Zealand. I'd already done a working holiday in Australia and I absolutely loved it. It was 2 of the best years of my life. And I was like, yes, I really was craving that buzz. And so I saved up. I think I saved maybe like £5,000. And I went to go and do some traveling around Thailand and Vietnam. The plan was for me to be away for at least sort of 3 years. I told everyone that I was going to be away for this length of time and I was super excited. And what actually ended up happening was I went to an island in Thailand called Koh Phangan, and I stayed in like a party hostel essentially, and I got caught up in the partying and the drinking, and I ended up spending nearly all of my money. All of this money that I'd saved up to go on this amazing travel trip with, I basically nearly spent I definitely spent half of the money I'd saved on alcohol and partying. So I went to Vietnam and I did some traveling, but at that point I knew that I had to come home, and I knew that I'd have to come and move in with my dad because I didn't have any money. I didn't have a backup plan. And so for a long time after that, I'd say maybe even up until like a year ago, I felt a lot of shame around that. I really felt like because of the expectation I had and the plans that I'd made, because it didn't work out that way, I really felt like I'd let myself down. And I just felt like a massive failure, and I had a lot of regret about that. And so when you think about expectation, and I think about that particular situation, I had planned to go in one direction, and instead I just went in a different direction. And I think that's okay. That happens in life. That happens all the time. Things don't always go the way that you expect they're going to go. And so you have these visions of what your life is going to be, thinking about it, from a bigger picture. You have all these expectations of what your life's going to be like, and you have these visions. And when our life doesn't meet those expectations, that's when we feel like we've failed. And I hate that word. I just want to put the word failed in the bin. Like, just get in the bin. The word failed, and also the word success. I think when I hear the word success, immediately what I think of to be successful is to have a lot of money. That is definitely buried somewhere in my subconscious, because although I don't actually believe that, that is the first thought that comes into my head. For me, to be successful, it doesn't mean earning loads of money. I don't really know what the word success, I don't really understand what it means to be successful. For me personally, as long as I'm living a life that is true to myself, and I'm doing things that I'm passionate about, and I'm doing things that bring me joy, then I'm happy. I'm happy with that. That's enough for me. I don't always feel that way. I think it ebbs and flows, and sometimes it takes work to acknowledge the thoughts that you're thinking and try and change your perspective. Sometimes it is just about a bit of a perspective shift, I feel. You know, we all know that social media has such a huge role to play in, unfortunately, I think, how we feel about our own lives in comparison to other people's. If we weren't being bombarded every day with people, you know, it's a highlight reel, isn't it? We know this. People have talked about it so much. People only ever really post the most amazing things that are going on in their life. So you don't get to see all the behind the scenes stuff. You don't get to see people on the days where they're feeling extremely insecure, or people that are feeling lonely, or people that have lots of things but are actually incredibly unhappy. And so I think a lot of us go to social media because we want to connect. And actually what happens is we see all of these people that seemingly have all these things that maybe we don't have, or you see them and they're doing things and you're like, well, they're living their life better than I am, you know, there must be something wrong with me. We go to social media for connection, and I think actually what happens is we just end up comparing ourselves to people and looking at all the things that we don't have. And so, yeah, I guess I just wanted to make a video and say, if you are feeling like you're doing it wrong, or you're falling behind, or you're not where you should be, you're not alone. I think all of us feel that way at some point in our lives. I think it's very normal to feel that way. And you know, everything is temporary. You're not always going to feel that way. You know, I think back to that clip that was on Instagram all the time of Tom Hanks saying, you know, this too shall pass. If, you know, you're feeling great, this too shall pass. You're feeling rubbish, you don't want to get out of bed, this too shall pass. But that has kind of stayed in my head, and I think it's an important thing to think about. Everything is temporary. And, you know, if you think about, maybe as an example, this is something that I've thought about quite a lot. When I have been going through a breakup, someone's broken up with me, and I'm absolutely devastated, and I feel like I'm always going to feel this way. I'm never ever going to get over this, you know, crying every day, just so unhappy, can't get out of bed. It passed. It passes. I don't know if anyone watching this has watched Fleabag. If you haven't, check it out because it's amazing. And she says to him, well, actually, if you haven't watched it, this might be a bit of a spoiler. She says something along the lines of, you know, the heartbreaking thing is that I love you. And he looks at her and he says, it'll pass. And it's like, oh, it gets me right in the feels, but it's true. It will pass. So yeah, I think social media and this kind of societal timeline can put pressure on us and make us feel like we're doing something wrong, we're not living life enough, we're not doing this, we're not earning enough money, we're not, whatever it is, whatever path you're on, just enjoy it. I know it's such a cliche and everyone says, oh, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. But it really is about the journey. Something that I've been thinking about is if you always got everything you wanted straight away, life would be so boring. I get to, as a human being, enjoy the passage of time, but also I get to experience my growth. I think about who I was 10 years ago and all the things that I've got to experience, and all the growth that has happened to me is amazing. I think just take some time to recognize that. Here's something, actually. Here's a good tip. Something that I have started doing this year, that has really helped me to focus on the positive things in my life. So I have started writing down every month that goes by. I know it's only February, so I've only done this twice. Throughout the month, I write down anything positive. So anything that I think is an achievement. It doesn't matter how small it is. Like when I finished reading a book, I wrote that down. If I meditated during the day, I wrote that down. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just write it down. And then also any positive experience that happens to you. So maybe you go out for a really nice lunch with your friend, or you go out on a really nice woodland walk. Write it down, and then at the end of the month, and put it on a poster maybe. This is something that I would like to do. I haven't done it yet, but put it on a really nice poster, decorate it however you want, and have all these things coming off of January, all these lovely positive things. And do that for every month. And then by the end of the year, when you think, oh, that was a bit of a rubbish year, you get to look at all of this stuff that you've written down and you're like, actually, no, that was a banging year. Like I did some stuff. I felt happy. I felt sad. That is what being a human being is all about. I would also say, think about your definitions of the words success and failure. Really think about that, all the things that you associate with those words, and try and change your perspective on them. It's very easy to envisage your life or envisage yourself doing something, and because you don't do it in that exact way, or you think you're going to go down this way and actually you go down that way, somehow you're a failure. You're not. You're just a human being having a human being experience and living your life. And lastly, I would just say, do more of the things you love. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you think it's lame. It doesn't matter if it's dancing in the kitchen, cooking, going for a walk, spending some time with friends. Whatever it is, whatever makes you feel good and brings you joy and puts a smile on your face, do more of it. Because let's be honest, in however many years, 8 years, 90 years, if we're that lucky, we're all going to be dead. So you might as well have some fun along the way. I hope that wasn't too morbid. So the main aim for this video was just to say, if you do feel like you're failing at life, you're not alone. I think most people feel that way at some point in their lives. We're all in it together. We're all just, none of us have a clue. We don't have a clue what is going on. No one can tell you what is the right way to live your life. I think we all just need to go with the flow a bit more and cut loose our expectations of ourselves and zoom out, realise that we're just one of many, many, many human beings wandering around on this spinning rock in the middle of who knows where. You're doing great. You're doing great. So the takeaway, I guess, from this video is that if you're feeling like you're falling behind, you're not alone. You know, none of us really know what we're doing, and you're good enough. You're good enough exactly the way you are. So, yes. Lots of love and light sending your way. Okay, bye.